Social ecology, right, has 5 different PhD programs, among them, right, the CLS program, right? This is what social ecology is about, and we specifically focus on crime prevention and social justice. There you have a horrible picture of me, right? On the left, my left, you see Brian Sykes. He is on sabbatical right now. We'll be back for winter and spring. And Adrian is an advanced student of ours who will probably be defending in spring 2023. So she's the SE ambassador, right? I am your graduate coordinator, and Brian Sykes is the faculty graduate advisor. He will answer academic questions, right? So if it's something that has to do with, what you'd like to study, what you need to read, how you get approval for interviewing prisoners, that kind of thing, well, Dr. Sykes is going to be the one to answer those questions. If you want to know what paperwork is necessary to get this or that done, well, that's what you ask me about. So I'm leaning back to give you a little bit more. This is important, okay? This is going to help you with your applications. We want you to be specific. The faculty want to see that you have a clear goal, that you have set out a plan to achieve that goal, and that is a realistic plan. Okay, you don't want to be vague or too general. You don't want to be enthusiastic about everything, right? You need to be specific. Intellectual fit is about finding an advisor whose interests align with yours, whose area of expertise is also something that would support you and your studies. So you have your specific issue, right? You have the right person with whom you'd like to work, right? And then we also need to find out that you're able to overcome adversity, right? So they call it grit, right? We need you to be able to persevere. Examples are great, right? Research experience is a bonus, definitely, but it is not required, okay? If you have research experience, make sure you mention that in your research statement, right? But if you don't, feel free to apply to the program. You still are an applicant whose application we will take a look at. All right, this also useful for the students when trying to find out what program they'd like to attend. We do coursework for a couple years, right? And you usually sign up for 2, maximum 3 courses in 1 quarter. We have the quarter system, so 3 quarters make up the academic year, right? And at the same time, you will also be working for us, either as a TA or a graduate student researcher. We do have quite a few fellows as well. Fellows often don't have to work at the same time, but we also do employ fellows as readers when needed, or at an 8-hour-a-week TA appointment in order to provide instructional support to our faculty. Okay, so you'll do coursework for a couple years, take care of the required coursework, right, and then spend a couple years before you advance. We'd like students to advance by the end of their 4th year, right? So you do coursework for 2 years, right? You do some data collection or reading or writing for a couple years, and then use the last year or 2 years to write and defend your dissertation. Normal time to degree is 6 years. Please note the asterisk means we guarantee funding for 5 years. We make every effort to support students in good standing in their 6th year, right? But it's not guaranteed in the 6th year. Normative time is 6 years. This also, students like to hear about this. This is the nitty-gritty. This is the paperwork that I have to help students with all the time. We have 9 courses that are required and 4 more that are electives. The required courses now include a methods sequence, so 201, 202, 203, and 203 can be either the quantitative practicum or the qualitative practicum, depends on what you want to do, right? You can take both of them, that's okay, especially valuable if you're doing mixed methods research. right? And you can use the other one as an elective. Okay, the second year project, at the end of your second year, right, you must turn in something that is roughly equivalent to a master's thesis. Okay, you get your advisor and another person to sign off on it. Then we send that to the faculty grad advisor for his signature as well, right? And usually around the third year in spring, students will present these to their colleagues, right? The comprehensive exam, very important, also known as comps, a significant milestone. Students often fail one or both parts of the comps, and you have a second chance to pass the comps. It is 2 essays, right? Each essay 5,000 to 6,500 words, not including references. And you talk about something in criminology and you talk about something in socio-legal studies, law and society, right? It's up to you what it is. There are some parameters, like we need you to discuss the history of it. We also need you to discuss future implications. It's very much like the articles that you will read in some of the top peer-reviewed journals, okay? We encourage students to read all of those, as many as they can, to discuss their comprehensive exams with their faculty and other students as well. Advancement in candidacy is, like I said, should be done by the fourth year, and in front of a committee of 5, 1 outside member, right? You explain your dissertation proposal, what you will be working on for the next year or 2, right, after you advance. Right, it's not a huge thing. It's not 100 pages long, but it is an hour-long presentation in front of this committee, and it is not a formality. Right, once or twice, students, right, do not pass the advancement, and they will be asked to leave the program. The dissertation defense, right? Again, not a formality. It's all at the end. The committee does not require, right, an outside member. Very often the students just shrink it down to 3 CLS members, right? Can take anywhere from an hour and a half, 2 hours, can be public, right? And here, I have not yet experienced someone who has failed the dissertation defense, but I have seen when students are asked to provide revisions, right? So they're given a deadline and they're supposed to revise the chapters of the dissertation, right? And then if the committee signs off on that, then they will get their PhD. Here are some bells and whistles about our program, right? Some additional aspects. We have grad students who are your same age and more or less the same stage, right, who are there to talk to. We have lots of committees, from diversity all the way up to strategic communications, right? Very valuable. Faculty and students schedule talks via Zoom or in person with personalities in the field. Very interesting. A unique thing to CLS here at UC Irvine, a pro seminar series. Right? The quarter system is usually a quarter of 10 weeks of instruction and then 1 week of finals. We have these series that go throughout the entire year, but in the first quarter, you're only taking 3 meetings, and second quarter, 3 meetings, and in the third quarter, that's when you take 4 meetings. You have to present something, and that's when you get 4 units for that course. Very exciting topics like race and justice studies or socio-legal studies and professionalization, for example. A master's in social ecology can be attained along the way to the PhD. Our program doesn't require an MA, right? It doesn't give you an MA, but if you want to get one, all of your required coursework will cover the needs for the required courses for an MA in SE, with the exception of one class known as SE 200. So if you want to get an MA on the way to your PhD, right, you've done just about everything you need to except for SE 200. So if you see SE 200 one quarter, sign up for it, take it, and then you could get your master's. And obviously the university, as well as the department, has career support for those who are not necessarily going into positions in academia, right? 90% of our grads, that's what they do. They need a PhD in CLS. because they want to become professors and teach it, right? I want to continue to do research and work at a university, right? So a lot of our students who graduate get tenure track positions at other universities or colleges, right? But if you want to get a job consulting, right, in policy, right, or just work, right, as a researcher, right, also possible. We do have career support for you. Right, working with faculty is the reward for many students. They're applying to our program because we've got top-notch faculty working on numerous projects. Get involved with anything and everything you can. We have a bunch of centers who are run by our faculty, right? So many, I had to write them down. We have the CEBC, the Center for Evidence-Based Corrections, Psych and Law, Law, Society, and Culture. We have ILSIC, right, the Irvine Lab for the study of space and crime, right? Also here in our department, MFI, right, the Metropolitan Futures Initiative, right? Very, very good for the quant crim kind of student. We have the Newkirk Center for Science and Society across the way at the School of Social Ecology. And we have the Law and Ethnography Lab. Lots of centers for you to get excited, engaged in, involved with, right? It'd be great. You work with faculty as an advisor. All students who come into the program get an advisor assigned to them right off the bat, right? Depends on availability, right? You can change that advisor. It's not like you're going to be stuck with this person, the whole time, right? You want to see what your fit is. You want to work with somebody, right, whose interests align with your own, right? So we assign you somebody in the first year, but don't worry if that's not the right person. Just submit a piece of paper and you can just go ahead and switch, right? And the whole time you are getting personal support, right? If you want to talk about things that are non-academic, you can come talk to me, or you can come talk to me and I could send you to another place, right? There's lots of centers around campus. The intellectual fit is working with the faculty, working with other students who have similar interests, taking the classes and learning what's going to help you for the future, and lots of financial support. I can tell you 90% of the problems that students have are financial in nature, right? So, I'm there to help you, right, with financial support. You have to turn in all of your applications for fellowships to me. When you get a fellowship, you have to let me know so that I can work out your funding for that quarter or that entire year, right? So working with faculty provides all of these things,